Hello and welcome back to Ryan Watches a Movie, the triumphant return. So happy to be here. My name is Adam Patterson. With me today, we got Kevin Rakestraw. Hey, Kevin.
Oh, hey.
Welcome
I'm
back. Welcome
I'm
back.
so jazzed up.
I'm jazzed up too.
I told all my friends and family.
We're also joined by the one and only Ryan Holes. Hey, Ryan.
Uh,
Now, I'm sure that a lot of people have been wondering.
excitement.
Yeah, he sounds excited to be back. I'm sure a lot of people have been wondering, like, where have you been? How have you been doing?
I've been good, I guess.
Well, I'm hoping that things will start to get better, at least a little bit better soon. We have the COVID vaccine that is hopefully going to be dispersed to many people
Oh yeah,
soon.
that's another thing. 3% of the population is dead, and I'm one of them. And I was happy about that until I found out O.J. Simpson is one of them too.
Yeah, I read that OJ. Yeah, OJ. So wait, did you get the vaccine yet?
Yeah, the first one.
You got the first
Oh
one.
shit! Watch out!
Yeah.
I feel like I'm in like a celebrity here. Like I'm
Because you
in-
got the vaccine.
Yeah. Like, wow.
You know what? I didn't even do the rest of the intro because we got all messed up and we're talking about the COVID vaccine. So let me do the rest of the intro. If this is your first time tuning in, Kevin and I are challenging ourselves to find movies that Ryan likes. In the hopes that we'll reach a coveted 10 out of 10, you can join in on the conversation by sending us your movie suggestions for Ryan to podcast@filmpulse.net or sending me a DM on Twitter @filmpulsenet. If you like the show, or even if you don't, please consider checking out the Frederick's Ataxia Research Alliance website at curefa.org and consider a donation. Ryan, what movie did you watch this week?
The Little Thing.
The Little Things. This is directed by John Lee Hancock. This came out on HBO Max just recently, just like a week ago now.
Fresh
So
out the oven.
I have a synopsis here. Kern County Deputy Sheriff Joe Deacon is sent to Los Angeles for what should have been a quick evidence gathering assignment. Instead, he becomes embroiled in the search for a serial killer who is terrorizing the city. This stars Denzel Washington, Rami Malek, Jared Leto, Ryan. Now, because this is like a brand new movie, it just came out on January 29th. Let's do you want to talk about spoilers? Because if you do, I think we should just do a spoiler warning right here at the top. Or if you think you can talk about it without giving too much away.
I can talk about it, but it might be shorter.
Okay, let's try to avoid spoilers just because this is like a series. Like, there's no big mystery. It's not really a mystery too much, but there are some things at the end maybe that could be considered spoilers. So let's just try to avoid that. Give us your spoiler free.
I hope he spoils it within like the first 5 seconds.
Like you said, Denzel Washington is called in for an investigation. And he's like a normal cop, but he's good at investigating, so they call him in. And he ends up teaming up with Roy Malik, and they eventually meet is who they think is the serial killer, and Jared Leto, and he's fucking weird as shit. And I mean, the murders happen at the beginning, so that's not really spoiling anything. It's just, to me, it felt like a 90s throwback to like Seven.
Oh yeah. I mean,
When I,
yeah, for sure. I mean, more like it feels like Kiss the Girls or Along Came a Spider, any one of those like er, 90s, late 90s, early aughts serial killer, the post 7 serial killer movies.
Yeah.
I mean, like it felt so much like one of those. It was like if you watched this movie now, you could easily like if you weren't paying attention to the fact that Denzel looks older and Jared Leto looks older and Rami Malek looks like Rami Malek, like the you would think like this is definitely an older movie. I don't even know when does it take place? Does it even take place?
I
I
think
don't
is it during when that song come out that the girl's listening at the beginning. On the wedding trees in the car. He's
um
listening to the song, but I can't remember what song it is.
it takes okay, yeah. The film takes place in October of 1990. So I think
Yeah.
that yeah, I think that that's another thing that makes it feel like an older movie. Movies like this just they don't really exist anymore. So it was kind of a throwback. Now, did that work for you, Ryan?
Yeah.
Okay.
Most of all, because there's no technology to fuck anything up.
Yeah, and, there's some beepers, there's some pagers in this, but that's about
Ooh.
it. Yeah, no cell phones. Now, I mean, I think that probably the highlight here that most people would be discussing is Jared Leto and his performance and his role as Albert Albert Sparma. uh,
Sparma?
Albert Sparma.
What?
Yeah, that's his
All
name.
right. All right.
Yep,
Joe.
that's his name. What did you think of Leto's character in this?
Oh, I think it plays an amazing weirdo.
I kind of liked his character. I thought he was kind of he was your pretty standard Jared Leto character, really, where
I
he was
knew
just
it, like he was good at fucking with the cops when they were trying to fuck with him.
yeah, yeah. So early on, fairly early on in the movie, they suspect him as being the killer, the serial killer,
Mhm.
and there's a little bit of a I wouldn't call it a cat and mouse because it's basically like Leto's character knows that they're following him and surveilling him, so he's just like fucking with them at every chance he gets, and that's pretty much it. I was kind of surprised at the lack of action. Like, there's very little suspense or action in this movie. Was that something that bothered you? Because as I was watching it, I was thinking like, oh man, I don't know if Ryan's going to be into this. It's a pretty slow burn.
There's a lot like the music is very influential.
What? What did you say? The music?
The music, yeah.
Ah, okay.
Like the music was pretty intense most of the time, and when there wasn't a lot happening.
Okay. All right.
Hmm.
Denzel Washington plays the lead. He's this guy who his name's Deke, and he starts off as this in Kern County. He's a deputy, but as the synopsis states, he has to go back to L.A. to pick up some evidence, and we kind of get the impression early on that like something happened to him that he ended up here. And then we learn that he used to be an LAPD officer. And then we eventually learn that he was a detective and that something horrific happened in his
no.
past. And something that's like kind of haunting him.
Mm.
And what happens here is like he teams up with Rami Malek, who is this sort of up and coming detective. He's like this hotshot new guy who's had a string of wins, and he's like just got a chip on his shoulder. Like he's really good, but he doesn't have that experience. He's not grizzled. Like the job didn't grind him into the cement yet. And Denzel sees that that's what's happening to him for this case. And it also happens to be linked to a case that he worked decades prior. In fact, it was the case that this incident occurred that caused him to basically get completely burnt out. So lots of links going on here.
Man.
So many links.
Wow. That's fresh. That's a fresh take, I think.
Well, debatable.
That's sarcasm.
Yeah. Kevin, what did this interest you at all?
First, I want to say that is it just me, or did this movie just like come out of nowhere?
Yeah, it came out. This is, I believe, this is one of those. Is it one of the Warner Brothers ones that was going to be in theaters, but they put on HBO? I don't know if it was part of that deal.
That would make sense.
Yeah,
because it seemed like it just dropped out of nowhere.
Yeah, Warner Brothers. I just looked at it. So it's one of those.
And I had some feelings about this I've only seen the very, very little bit, of this that I know of. And I had a feeling that it looked like a knockoff of the late 90s, early aughts serial killer movies. So now that you told me that it is, I know I'm not going to be watching it. Plus, it didn't look good at all. Like, even the acting. It's like none of it looked interesting.
I thought it was pretty good.
Well,
okay.
and that's what matters.
Yeah, that's the podcast, Ryan. It's about you.
That watching it was pretty amazing.
He's pretty good in it.
Yeah, I mean, he's pretty good at everything.
Yeah, I mean, Denzel's good in it. Rami Malek is weird in it, which I think.
See, that's the thing. Like, normally, if you say Denzel Washington's in something, I'm immediately like, oh, okay, I'll give it a shot. But the other aspects of this, just I was like, I don't know. I mean, now listening to you guys, I'm like, yeah, this just doesn't sound like it's worth it for me.
No, for you, definitely not for you. Denzel plays a little bit of a different character in this. He plays a lot of cop characters, but in this, he's just way more broken down, and I wouldn't necessarily even call him a good person in this. Like he wants to do the right thing, but I think that he's got some really bad trauma that's kind of bringing him down. I think he has some PTSD, and so I think he's definitely a more weathered character than we've seen in a lot of his other roles. And he's not very charismatic in this either. So,
that's. I mean, how do you make Denzel Washington not charismatic?
Yeah, I mean, it's just the character, man. Like, he's just a depressing character. Like, he's just sad. He's a really mopey dude.
See, that's the first thing you said, where I'm like, well, now I kind of want to see it.
Yeah, he's pretty miserable through this whole movie, actually. Like, he seems happy at first because he's like reconnecting with a lot of these people who he used to work with when he was in LA, but there's still a lot of people who hate him for what he did, and there's a lot of people who are just like, why the fuck are you here? Get out of here. Like, we don't want you around here. Get out. And yeah, so I don't know, it's kind of interesting, I guess. Honestly, it really wasn't for me. I was kind of hoping for more. Like, if you're gonna do one of these 90s serial killer throwbacks, I just feel like you should bring something more to the table here. Like, I just didn't find the overall narrative very compelling. Like, there's, as I said at the beginning, there's not really a mystery. I mean, you know that Jared Leto's the suspect, but I guess the mystery aspect of it is he the killer or not? And
I enjoyed how I handled everything.
how he handled everything?
Yeah, because he's so fucking weird and what he does all the time.
Yeah, I mean, I actually kind of wanted more of his character, just because he was fun.
Are you guys rooting for the serial killer? Is that what I'm getting here?
It's more complicated than that, though, because you're never sure. You're never sure that he's the guy they're looking for, and that's kind of the whole thing with this movie. Is it's all about the little things. It's all about the little details.
And they say that twice. That kind of bugged me when they say the movie title in the movie.
They definitely say the movie title in the movie multiple times. I'm sure that's on.
Every time it's like the exact same. It's a Denzel Washington saying to Rami Malek every time.
Yeah, I don't think the script in this is very good. I mean, I don't want to undercut what you're saying, Ryan, but I just don't think anything in this movie is very good.
Well, guess what? It's called Ryan watches
I know.
the movie, not
I
Adam.
know. That's what I'm saying. I'm not trying to undercut him. There are plenty of other people who I respect their opinions and they like it. So a lot of people are liking this movie. Blake.
The only thing I would say that's very much worth it is your lettuce creature.
Yeah.
Like you said, I want to see a spin-off of just that character.
A lot of
that kind of fucking weirdo.
Mm-hmm.
Again,
and it makes me happy.
I guess it fucking weird. It makes me happy.
Again, it's like you're like, man, I wish the serial killer would have won. I wish that the weird guy would have got to kill more people. That's what I wanted.
His body type in this movie is like one of those guys who's skinny but fat. So like he's like super skinny and like lanky, but then he has this like really big beer belly going on. So he's like one of those people.
Gotcha. He's got like the chicken legs.
Yeah, and his arms too. Like everything about him is like really, really skinny, but then he's got like this gut.
Yeah.
And it's like that body type is kind of creepy in and of itself. I mean, I kind of have that body type actually.
That's just an unfortunate.
And I look at myself in the mirror and think you're a fucking creep.
Now you got me thinking about when Denzel Washington was surveilling him during the day on that off ramp, and they see each other and drive to the other place. And that's all I don't know how to explain that.
Did they comment on his body?
He keeps going back and forth, but they're very serious.
Mm-hmm.
But also not serious. Like, you can just tell they're thinking, like, what the fuck is happening?
Yeah.
Like that mass confusion.
Mm-hmm.
Great.
Okay. All right. Anything else to add before we give you your drum roll on this?
No.
All right. Okay, Ryan, what are you gonna give The Little Things?
7.
That's a 7 out of 10. Starting off solid. You know, I'm glad it's a 7 because
the best part is we didn't even. So this was easy as hell for us.
Yeah, he picked it. He wanted this. He's like, we were like, hey, what do you want to do? What do you want to return with? And he's like, The Little Things, and I'm like, done.
I like he's like,
makes everything easy for me.
I'm coming back on my terms. I call the shots now.
It's easy
I pick the
to
movie.
talk about a movie that I want to watch.
Well, that's
What's
kind of
your-
the whole point. Like the new format is to sort of pick
Yeah,
movies
I
that you
for-
want, that you may
So do you-
that you may
I
not know you
forgot
want.
about that.
Do you just want to pick your own movies from now on?
No,
I didn't think so.
because I don't know
You don't know
much
anyone.
about a lot of movies.
It's all
'Cause
about
I-
the discovery, you know,
Yeah.
and the challenge. The
Yeah.
challenge to find that 10
But
out of 10.
there was a window there, a small window where I was kind of excited about that prospect because I'm like, I'm kind of interested to see what Ryan would pick week to week.
Well, same here. I think that is an interesting concept.
I
But
would probably pick a lot of stupid movies and I hate myself for it later.
We all do, but
yeah. Yeah. We were just talking about Grizzly 2 before starting the show. We all make mistakes.
we do. But I mean, we didn't storm the Capitol, so
That is true. That is one mistake we did not make. Did not storm that Capitol. All right, so I'm glad that it was a 7 out of 10 and not like a 10 out of 10. I didn't want to come because if we made our triumphant return with a 10 out of 10 right out of the gate.
we shut it down for the rest of the year.
There's nowhere to go but downhill from there. So I'm glad that
when I first heard about this, and they like Kevin said it was recently, and I started hearing all kinds about it every day. I thought they would be a 10 out of 10.
Mm.
So actually, that 7's a slight disappointment.
Yeah. I would have laughed so hard if you gave the little things a 10 out of 10. I would have been like, it would have thrown, because, I have like we have like a Ryan algorithm, like the movies that I think you're going to love. If you gave this movie a 10 out of 10, it would have thrown that whole algorithm off. Like everything would have been, I would have had to throw everything away, everything in the garbage at that point.
Yeah, because I think at that point, from moving forward, it would just be teen sex comedies and serial killer movies from the 90s.
Yeah.
This is like, that's our only hope.
It's really, really bizarre. Okay, so what are you in the mood for next week?
Comedy, I guess.
Comedy, okay. Yeah, we can do that. Definitely hook you up with a comedy. We'll try to think of something that's not subtitled. Teen sex is, the teen sex comedies are pretty much out because
we've seen all.
Yeah, that well has dried up long ago.
They don't make them like they used to.
There's a couple, maybe not teen sex comedies, but teen sex adjacent comedies that I can think of.
They don't make anything like they used to.
Yeah, that's true.
In the 90s, I can't remember most movies being pretty good, like in the late 90s.
Well, certainly comedies. We've talked about this before, where like the you just don't see the same style of comedy anymore. Like I think after like the Apatow Rogan era came, it just sort of changed everything. But I don't know. We'll see. All right. Any final thoughts, Ryan, before we close it out this week?
No.
Okay. Thank you so much for listening. You can send us your picks for Ryan and questions and topics to podcast@filmpulse.net. You can follow us on Twitter @FilmPulseNet, @FilmPulseKevin, and @MyLegsDon'tWork. And if you have a minute, consider reviewing us on iTunes. We'd appreciate that very much. For Kevin Rakestraw and Ryan Holes, my name's Adam Patterson. We'll see you next week.
See you later.